frustrations that Satan uses to keep you from praying again and again for something. The devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking someone to devour. Let's read 1 Peter 5:7 together. Casting all your anxiety on him, because it matters to him concerning you. So the thing we want to mention tonight is anxiety. All right? What makes us delicious prey for Satan, the roaring lion in verse 8, is if we are in a condition of anxiety. If we are, then that's perfect. That's exactly what he wants. He's going to come and devour us because of our anxiety. What are some things that college students are anxious about? We could make a long list. There are larger things such as family situations, or obviously your future, who you're going to marry, when you're going to get married, finances, what kind of job you will get. There's smaller things like what you're going to wear. Actually, you can make yourself anxious about almost anything. It's really you just some professor said, or some friends be like, "Hey, I heard the big earthquake in California is probably just a couple weeks away," and then you start to get that really anxious about that, and then someone's really tired and just like kind of looked at you funny. You can start to get really anxious about that. Like, did I do something wrong to this person? Why did they look at me like that? There's a lot of anxiety for nothing, really, in that case. But at any rate, whether legitimate or not legitimate, Satan's strategy is to make us anxious. What's the antidote to anxiety in this verse? It's actually very simple. Yeah, it's to cast our anxiety on him. We cannot avoid anxiety. It's impossible to avoid it. But what we do with anxiety is important. If we try to combat it, it won't work. But if we cast our anxiety on him, then we will not be devoured by the opponent. And along with that is Daniel 7:25 here, which says, "And he," the enemy, "will speak things against the Most High and wear out the saints of the Most High." The characteristic of wearing out is usually wearing out doesn't happen with one single event. Usually it's over a long period of time. Example would be like as if we could just really dim these lights a little at a time, just like a little dimmer, a little dimmer, a little dimmer. You don't really notice anything while it's happening, but then suddenly it's dark in the room and be like, "Oh, what happened? It's dark." Well, that's because there was a gradual wearing out of the shining. And it's the same in our Christian life. Satan is not stupid, because he knows that if there's some large thing that goes wrong, actually, that really helps us turn to the Lord. We get desperate to turn to the Lord. But if he can gradually just wear us out, and our enjoyment of the Lord just a little lower each day, not week to week. If he can gradually do that, then that's one of his primary strategies. Ecclesiastes 4:12. Let's read this verse together. "While a man may prevail against the one, the two will withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken." What do you think the enemy's strategy based on this verse would be? A great strategy is to isolate us, or to cause us to isolate ourselves from other believers and from fellowship. Because if he can do that, like it says here, a man, meaning our enemy, may prevail against us, especially if we're going through some difficult things. One thing that we need to learn how to do, and I need to learn how to do, is to be able to open to others so that we're not delicious prey for him. It's a very basic point, but just to state it again, that our opponent is Satan. All right? Because it's very easy to get sidetracked. For instance, we may be frustrated with another person, say, who doesn't know the Lord or doesn't believe in the Lord, and they may say some things that are not so nice to us, or may have reactions to certain things we do that are not so nice, and we may not appreciate that. But we have to remember that they are not the opponent. The opponent is Satan. And sometimes we may be working together, or we may be praying together, or we may be with other brothers and sisters trying to enjoy the Lord, or living together, or doing various things. And sometimes we may get a little annoyed. We have to remember we should not get frustrated with them. We should be frustrated with our opponent, who is also their opponent, which is the devil. Our opponent never changes. It's always the same. It is always the devil.